here's what happened next.
When I heard that the lady who gave me $10 and them babies are living in a playground, I just forbid it. I'm gonna hit her 4 times. I'm gonna give her some Lyft credit and a Target gift card. I'm gonna give it all I got because I have to.
People that I have probably the greatest assimilation to, the greatest connection to, would be gay and homeless. But almost about closest buddies, parents aren't together, never were, or even sometimes like probably one of the, honestly, maybe one of the greatest, strongest connections I have with people, gay, homeless, and dead parents. Those people seem to get me incredibly well. And one example would be someone that came to my hotel room. It was very cold, it was starting to get cold. I said, do you have a place to go? And he was just like, thank you for caring about me. He came over, went there for a whole night. He was there long enough to just, with the ticks and sounds of, microwave refrigerator, he was like, I gotta go. And I knew, but I was worried about him before he got there, because he got there late. Another one was a friend that also invited to the hotel, and I had it this summer. He came right in, he gave me a big hug. And when I saw him for the first time since then, about 2 weeks ago, it was like 2 days went by. We are very, 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 we understand this life and how we are trying to always, constantly do the right thing, but we cannot break it. And our dreams would also kind of be in this. Yes, if parents that are alive, they do have a strained relationship, but probably more in common with me. The thing that I think we have, I never been to Afghanistan, to serve, and he's always been kind of in a relationship. His family comes from, they are the half-bars, and my family was the half-littles. And that's probably the biggest difference, I think, between us, really. And he hated I was homeless more than anybody. Through it all, I think he really did try very hard, as much as he could. And the whole chapter might not be over. If I worked with you at John Hancock Financial Services, if you are in a solid relationship, you could be a secretary, I'll make a paycheck to paycheck. Here, you don't have any. I'm gonna work with you for about a year. I was successful in that job. We got along pretty good. Everybody and me at that job got along great. I knew Chelsea Ralston was never gonna be that bridge was never there. So like that was just Scott Sorrell, Will Smith. I tried to reach out to them, but like they have. It doesn't matter money, the amount of money you made. It doesn't matter. And even though I knew you way more recently, but it's been like 13 years. I found it actually doesn't matter if I worked with you 20 years ago in 2003 or if it's one of my last employers. Overall, on a general basis, almost nobody I've ever worked with has been able to find compassion or understanding or absolutely have any clue of how hard it was for me to avoid being homeless and how hard it is for me to stay alive on a day-to-day basis. It's just something that the professional community at large is just not at all equipped to understand, rationalize, comprehend, and it's because I know that I'm gay, that I'm at a such higher propensity for this to happen, coupled with the fact my parents divorced. It's just like, it is a very, very bad problem. There's nothing completely wrong with me that caused me to be this way. I just have no support from the family or any other means. These people could help. My boss, Chelsea Ralston, that I mentioned earlier, she actually had trouble showing compassion for homeless people when we actually worked together. I remember that specifically. So it was just very, people are talking about burning a bridge, but I'm like, I'm trying to stay alive. I'm not looking for, connection, for, a networking thing for my job prospects. I'm looking to actually be alive next week. And none of these people are able to really grasp that. One exception to that would have been the employer I came out to Colorado for originally, Dish. I worked with them 2018 to 2020. And I think that what makes this group unique, I come from a very distressed area in rural West Virginia, and coming to Denver, it was very celebrated when I came out here in 2019 the connection I kept and maintained with those people was pretty remarkable. But then at this current time, I'm not in touch with really any of them. Dish Network overall has a very poor rapport in Denver and a very high well-standing in Southern West Virginia. The company does, of course, have the Dish Cares, and we all kind of already know corporate social responsibility is not something where they're going to take care of employees like me or former employees. It's just something that they're doing to try to look good, and Dish has been sued for hundreds of millions of dollars multiple times for doing the wrong thing. So on the contrary, can it work the other way around? Can a gay homeless man help become a job connection? Actually, that became very, very likely, and it was something that we were trying to do back in November 2022. For that Veterans Day, I actually received this Air Force jacket from a gay homeless man who wanted to not have it anymore, and then another one he invited me to go to his employer and encouraged me to meet his boss and pursue a job there. And it became a situation where I was waiting on my Social Security replacement, on my Social Security card and birth certificate and license. That all has happened where I've been robbed 10 times. I replaced it 10 times. But at the current moment, I was waiting on the replacement. The employer needed it by a certain date, and I did not have it. So I missed out on the job. No fault of the gay homeless man, the connection that was really, really trying, to provide a way out of homelessness. So it does work in that reverse way, but not in, from coworkers to, homeless. It doesn't work that way at all. And one thing I wanted to mention here, coworkers in the past that have seen me survive sexual harassment and racism in the workplace and were very compassionate for those things, that does not translate into you're homeless, you need your life saved, here, let's get motivated to help you. That's never happened. They may have felt compassion in one area of my life for something I went through, but once you become homeless, it stops. I would say that experience where I had to face racism in the workplace and eventually I had to leave the employer was probably a strong contributing factor to me going homeless, having to change jobs in the COVID economy due to factors beyond my control out here in Colorado without a network. But I do want to say that one experience in November 22 was just one. It was probably the closest one. There actually was a time when someone who was gay, formerly homeless, no longer homeless, working, they actually helped me get a job. It ended up being a violent situation. I was on the precipice of violence, had to leave. I'll explain that more in a different segment. And then I'm actually just recalling lots of times we are kind of constantly, if you're gay and homeless, we are kind of constantly networking together, sharing referral codes for things like the Grubhub delivery. Now you need a bicycle to do that. And it's just kind of like, well, you also have to, have a bike or have a way to, rent a bike, and it's just also the higher likelihood of accidents and everything. It becomes, when you're homeless, you are always helping other people. Homeless people help other homeless people all of the time, every single day in small ways. But, I want to say that we always know work is important and, we want to work, but we are having to face significant challenges that people with homes just simply are not able and just do not care to even understand. You are kind of like with the fries. You're just, it's like it doesn't register with you at all that my life is at stake. You used to care about when I would go to lunch. The fries, I used to watch Mr. Fry, Todd, hip soccer. It's just kind of I remember Nathan Fry telling us not to smoke cigarettes and really caring about that. But now, no, you're like with Sammy Salek. It's just very, very, very low. It's if I could get hit by a truck, I don't think you'd pull my body out of the road. It's just you are really on that passive, the German population with Holocaust going on. That's kind of where a lot of you are. It's very sad. And it's just because it's you're unable to relate to any of this. And before I went homeless or whatever, my dad and I would talk about this a lot, and I'm just kind of gearing up to go speak at Colorado Springs on the AM radio, American Film Radio, because I would love to do this with Jay Wilson, Kyle Wilson. Kyle Wilson was a took-ball instructor when I worked for WVU. Jay Wilson and Karen are two Christians that blocked me. Leaders of McDowell County should know everything my dad says is wrong. Should know it's right to help me because I'm homeless, but they're not able to. They're in a long-term relationship. They're married. They have never been homeless. They're not gay. It's just like, we know the golden rule, we know all these things, but like, it's the people that are more like me. Another great example of homeless connections becoming job connections and actually being surprising would be an experience I had with a coworker working in West Virginia, in Charleston, West Virginia in 2015, right before I went homeless. There was actually someone who was a Black female. At the time, she had no kids. Now she has 2 children. And after that experience, and after being homeless in 2016, I was then in 2018 a Uber driver in Philadelphia, just kind of showing what I'm trying to illustrate here. I was a project director for WVU, moved to the capital city for better job connections, could only find minimum wage work, and then left West Virginia one time in pursuit of Uber driving in Philadelphia in 2018. I caught up with my friend that told me that she was homeless and that at one point last summer she was sleeping in a playground with 2 children. I had an opportunity to go to work short term on an app for a Pepsi distributor, and this is what happened when I found out. This is right around the time I got paid for that.
The lady who gave me $10 and them babies are living in a playground, I just forbid it. I'm gonna hit her 4 times. I'm gonna give her some Lyft credit and a Target gift card. I'm gonna give it all I got because I have to.
This is kind of the heart element that homeless people have for each other, and this is unique because it's such an old connection. She is different race than I am. She's a female. She's not gay. She has children though. So I just, my heart was just compelled to do as much as I could, even though I needed the money. It was just kind of like, how could I not do this? This is the kind of thing that people need in the professional community. They need to just recognize that this happens. And I don't think this is the only situation. I did catch up with her this morning. She is now living in Charleston, West Virginia again, but still homeless, bouncing from place to place, a lot like how I am. Now, this is my vehicle that what happened with the whole opportunity in Philadelphia. All the money I made that summer went to just fixing the car to get back to West Virginia. It was really disappointing. And it was just, this is probably another contributor to things just never working out for me. But like, how could I have foreseen it? I was trying to leave West Virginia. I do just want to say the person that was living in the playground, the mother of 2, she actually helped me in the reverse way when I was living in Charleston after leaving my dad's, the house with no water and, for deplorable conditions and just a very bad situation with my dad. I went to the place I used to live in Charleston, or that city again, and she actually told me she had recent connections or communication with that fast food joint, and she just said, if you go in there this time, ask for such and such person, you'll probably get your job back. So that connection was already almost 10 years old, and it wasn't a lucrative opportunity, but it was a job, and our connection is still strong. And just taking a look at the media I wanted to just elaborate a little bit more on what happened here. So we worked together in 2015. We haven't seen each other since then, but in 2023, I did go by the employer trying to look sharp. And, went in there, the person was not there on that specific day when they were supposed to be or whatever. One of the major hurdles to actually achieving employment there again was I never had a safe and consistent place to go. Just a few days later, I was actually in an interstate kidnapping, and it's just, the parallels. I want to tell you, I have recently had a closure with a relationship with the president of the West Virginia State Senate. My father has a portrait of my uncle in Senator Joe Manchin's office in Washington, D.C. It seems like just the inequity and inability to climb or move up or maintain anything has been a deliberately, unbelievably hard struggle that's just not been successful yet. Like, even though I really can't explain any further, I don't really think that I have a lot of regrets or that there's like a lot of changes I would have made. It's just I couldn't even in 2023 get back the job that I had at minimum wage in 2015 because I'm homeless.